right, Jamie, so we've got 511 horsepower in a 96 Golf. Can you tell us what the story is behind this car, mate?
Well, this is a development car from it was Stan from Euro-Aus's personal track day car. I think he built it out of a want for something reliable and sort of big horsepower. I got it off him quite reluctantly. It took me, he put up the ad and then I think sort of changed his mind. It took me a good month or two of persuading to actually get it off him.
Yep.
I eventually got it. Obviously, I took it straight to get tuned and taken off the water method it was on. Pretty much straight away picked up a bit of power there and have just been trying to carry the torch, as it were, trying to develop the car further into sort of the direction that I wanted to take it. So
Yep.
He's done everything on sort of the motor, sort of a full build, pistons, rods, cams, all the valve train, 3576 GDX turbo, water to air intercooler, upgraded bearings throughout, ARP stuff throughout, Quaife LSD, upgraded shafts, everything sort of has been touched. 3.5 inch exhaust, 50mm wastegate. It's sort of all been primed for a sort of reliable build. And then we just, myself and a good friend of mine, Darren Caswell, we just started from there. We blew up the gearbox because you sort of hit 500 horsepower and that's sort of the limit for things that aren't uprated. I mean, it had been heat treated and shot peened, but it really wasn't going to hold for where the power is at sort of now. So we've got a dog box in there now, straight cut drag dog box. We've rebuilt the Quaife. Darren rebuilt the Quaife. We rebuilt the CVs and we did some work to the drive shaft. We did the tie rod ends, CVs, all that sort of stuff surrounding the drivetrain. And yeah, basically just been enjoying it from there on out. Obviously it's got all the big ticket items sort of done to the car, which I'm pleased about. And it's just something that I can really sort of forever car it and have it in the garage and just do little bits and pieces.
Yeah, so for you it's almost, you just get to put your touch on it now, like everything is where it needs to be.
Yeah, I have plans to move it sort of more in the direction of where I want it to be. I want it to be a bit more showy, a bit more clean. Not to say that Stan didn't leave it clean, but I have sort of my direction where I want to point it, and definitely. I want a sort of more, I suppose you could say, race show build sort of thing. I want to half cage it, sequential shifter, sort of have that WTF car that people, regardless if you're into front wheel drives, you're into Golfs or whatever, you sort of come and learn about the car and sort of think, what is it? Yeah. No, not what is it? Sort of like, what the fuck?
yeah. And you've already started with that. You've got your unique little rose pattern on the engine casing there. Can you tell us how you did that? It's an interesting story.
This was sort of something I just, you watch TV and you sort of pick ideas from sort of people. So I painted it the lighter colour that you see there, and then I went to Spotlight and got some lace. I think it was like $5 for the lace. Laid it over top, sprayed it with some matte black and then some clear. Sort of something I pulled from sort of lowrider build that I saw somewhere before. It seemed to turn out all right. I mean, it's unique. It can always be changed, obviously, if I change my mind again, but I just wanted to have a sort of play with that and see how that would turn out. Turned out all right.
Yeah, it's turned out really cool. Yeah. It's an idea that I might even go and use myself at some point because I like it. Yeah.
By all means, man. National Geographic.
Yeah. So what have you done with the suspension? Because the ride's not too bad.
So it's got Stan's put all the sort of DGR racing coilovers in there. They're fully adjustable.
Yep.
He's got fabulous lower control arms. He's done a lot of little tricky things that only sort of VW guys will notice.
Yeah.
Too much to obviously list, but it's got all the bushings and all that thing. Everything's sort of been touched, but it's not really. These roads are somewhat forgiving for how hard it actually is.
Yeah, the roads here are nice. Yeah.
So it's a bit of an arsehole though.
Yeah.
It's an arsehole trying to learn because I don't have much seat time in this thing.
Yeah.
I feel like I could drive this thing a lot better than I can.
You got to learn on the fly with it, but it sounds like it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's just it is.
Yeah,
It
once
is
you get the hang of it, though, it's
because
the advantages.
you try and teach yourself
Yeah.
your whole life to not crunch gears but this is just inherently does it if you don't know what you're doing, which you don't. And the guy Darren Caswell who machined all the gearbox and did all the alignment, and he's sort of like my guru who does all the work to this car.
Yeah.
He can drive it perfectly fine, and he knows exactly when to shift and when to downshift without. I don't think I've heard him crunch it once.
Yeah.
And he tried to teach me, but when you've been driving for 25 years and I've only ever had one auto car.
Yeah.
Driving manual for 25 years is sort of like there's certain things you're not going to be able to do
And it's
at the whim of someone's request because you've got such an ingrained way of driving things.
Yeah.
So this bike runs.
That's outrageously fast.
Yeah. Third gear is the only that's where you can start to do something with it. I mean, even with the Quaif and the R888s, the R888s still got a lot of meat on them, and you try and warm it up as best you can, but
that's unreal.
You can only do what you can do with front wheel drive.
Yeah, and that's from neutral back into gear, isn't it?
I automatically slap it into neutral, just as a reflex, and then it's not something I should be doing in this, but again, it's just that
you've been doing it, as you said, for 20 years. So.
It's my life of driving a manual car. It's sort of wrecked any chance of learning how to do it properly. But I've got to do it. I mean, the thing is, I still don't drive this car enough. I maybe get it out once a month, if that. I don't really have time to drive it, so I can't. It's not like I can dedicate some time to learn how to drive it either. But it sounds cool, man, and no one's really going to take notice of the crunches if I'm never sitting beside someone.
So, man, as you said that you had a girl tell you to change gears because of the noise it's making. But it's one of those cars, as you said before, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you got no idea.
You might think it's supercharged, you might think the gearbox is wrecked.
That's it.
You might think it's a dog box, but either way. Thank God for Willwood. See, straight back into neutral.
Yeah. Far out. Is that torque steer, or is that you're trying to put it somewhere that it's going too far?
Torque steer. I mean, if I lose grip on one wheel slightly, obviously, and the other wheel's got grip, it's sort of all over the shop.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot I can do about that. I mean, it sort of sorts itself out with the Mickey Thompsons, but you've still got to use 2 hands and 3 lanes if you want to give it some shit. See, I'll try and get this in the 5th. There's no way. There's no way I'm doing it without the skills to drive it. I'm not going to pretend like I know what I'm doing when I'm driving this car. But, it offers you the opportunity to try and kick the clutch and grab a gear as absolutely fast as you possibly can, even when you're doing it comically. I don't know if you've ever done this, but when you've had a gearbox out and the gear stick's still sitting there connected to nothing, you're sort of just messing around. You can do it that comically fast and it will go.
Yeah.
But like I said,